Good morning. Thanks for joining the Halacha Torah Review of the day for Friday the 13th of November. We were speaking yesterday about making hamotzi on Shabbat. There's a custom to make a mark with the knife. You'll see that people take the knife and make a little mark on the top of the challah before it's cut to be able to cut the challah more easily, which simply means that there's less of an interruption between the bracha and the actual cutting. Don't cut too deep, because if you cut it all the way through, the challah is not a whole challah anymore. Some people don't do this at all, but you should make a little cut. Some have the custom to cut both challahs, but the pretty widespread custom is to cut only one challah. They are then placed one on top of the other. I said yesterday to put them back to back. On Friday night, you cut the bottom challah, so the bottom one should be placed closer to you. At other times, the top challah is cut. When Yom Tov falls out on Friday night, the top challah is also cut. What did I want to say? Oh, yeah. So this idea of that it should be whole. So we say usually that when you are going to take a, we said this with the laws of brachas. When you're going to make a bracha, make a blessing over food that you're about to enjoy, it should be ready to enjoy. So if you say a bracha over, scotch or a soda or something, or scotch and soda for that matter, and you make the bracha and you say, I don't have any, I have to go to the LCBO and then to the grocery store and then come home and pour my drink and then have it. That's not the way to do it. Similarly, if you're sitting in the dining room and the juice that you want is in the fridge, in the kitchen, you don't make the bracha and then go pour yourself a glass again. You go to the fridge, pour yourself the glass of juice or whatever, or a slice of whatever it is, a cracker. You get that ready, you have it in front of you, you hold it in your hand. If it's in a wrapper, you open the wrapper. If it's peeled, we have an interesting question that we dealt with before about what to do with fruit that needs to be peeled. If it's a bottle of soda or juice or anything else, pour yourself a little bit in the cup, hold that cup in your hand, make the bracha, and then drink a little bit. Okay? So if you're going to have some bread, you wash your hands, you say Al Til Sidayim. You are going to eat bread, but you want to have it ready to eat. So before you wash your hands, you should slice off a piece from the loaf. Now that applies the whole week around, throughout the whole week, the other 6 days of the week. On Shabbos, we said specifically that you need to have two complete challahs, two complete loaves or items of bread in front of you in order to make the bracha, because we want to make remembering the Lechem Mishnah, we're remembering the two portions of bread, of manna rather, that were given to us in the desert. So you want the whole things, but at the same time you're supposed to have them as ready to eat as possible. So cutting, making the little cut, really is this indicator that you're trying to sort of check both boxes. You want to have the challahs complete, whole, and at the same time you want to have them as ready to eat as possible. So that is the little halachic background for how that comes out. The person cutting the challah should eat first and then give challah pieces to all the other participants. The challah should be placed on the table rather than directly into the hands of the recipient. When we put bread in the hands of mourners, usually we only do that for avelis. When someone comes home from the cemetery, God forbid, after a funeral and they're beginning shiva, the first thing we do is to give them bread and we place it in their hands. So to distinguish that, we don't do it the rest of the year. We place it on a tray, pass it around, or a plate, pass it around or on the table. Some Hasidim are not concerned with this issue. Nemuke Orachaim Pischei Tshuva says that. Okay, most people that I've seen are careful about that. The challahs should not be thrown because it's a disgrace to the challah. That demonstrates the Ashken normative perspective of this book. My understanding is that in the Sephardic world that is common practice. The person who's making hamotzi should cut a piece that's large enough to eat over the entire meal, so a big piece. Yeah. There's a mitzvah to bring salt to the table. A table is compared to the mizbeach, the altar in the temple, and all of the sacrifices, according to a verse in the Torah, were brought accompanied by salt. The custom is to dip challah in the salt. Some dip the challah in the salt 3 times. Some don't dip it on Friday night. If there's no salt, you can dip it in something made with salt, and the salt should be left on the table throughout the meal until Birkat Hamazon. Some have the custom to gather the crumbs from the challah and eat them. It's supposed to be a segula for good memory. So there you have that. Okay, so that is another chapter in Shabbos preparation, particularly Hamotzi, but we have more to go. So please join us after Shabbos. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Candle lighting this afternoon is 4:35 p.m. We will not, unfortunately, sadly, have a minyan in shul for Kabbalat Shabbat, as has been the case throughout this crazy pandemic time. We will do our very best all to daven together at 4:40, Mincha Kabbalat Shabbat. Just remind you, bring to your attention rather, that Shabbos ends at 5:39 tomorrow evening, when it gets dark, and our Zoom Havdalah, everyone's invited to. You have the link in your email from yesterday. That is at 5:49, approximately 10 minutes past the departure of Shabbos. If you're looking for something to read over Shabbos, get yourself a copy of Lord Sax's book, Morality. We're going to be discussing that Monday night, and I hope many of us will join together in that worthy endeavor. Also, Le'ilui Nishmas, Rabbi Sachs of blessed memory. Good Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. See you after.